Can you actually believe what's happening in the world right now? I can't. Like, I could have never expected this. I hadn't imagined that this could happen to our world on a global scale, where we're seeing countries shut down, major sporting events, everything is being affected. Businesses are being affected. People's jobs are being affected. The stock market, people's security in their retirement, the property market will likely be affected. And there is a fear and panic that is just so widespread at the moment that it's scary how one little virus can affect everything. Everything that we've worked towards, everything that we've built up can just be knocked around in an instant because of this pandemic. Things just change so quickly and we're so out of control. Every one of us is likely to be affected. This reminds me of the parable that Jesus teaches in Luke chapter 12 of the rich fool, where a man works really hard. He's created great wealth for himself over many years, and he says to himself, well, what am I going to do now? I've got enough to last me. I'm going to tear down the barns that I've got. I'm going to build up bigger barns, and I'm going to put all my crops in there, and I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to eat, drink, and be merry. And God says to him, you fool, this very night your life is demanded of you. And what's going to happen to your possessions? Whose will they be? And really it's a rebuke of putting his security and his trust in the things in which ultimately there is no security and trust in. James chapter 4 talks about a similar thing, where it talks about the pointlessness in boasting and believing that we're in control. It says, you know, tomorrow you're going to say, I'm going to go into this city, I'm going to go into that city, I'm going to do business here, I'm going to do business there. But God says, but you're better off saying, if God wills, I'm going to do this, because you're boasting in your arrogance. You think you're in control. You think you're going to create this security for yourself and that everything is just going to be okay. But everything can change in an instant, and God is the one that you want to put your trust in, not your possessions. And seeing this coronavirus strike is very humbling, actually. It shows that we can so easily be brought to ruin, so easily. The things that we've worked hard for over many years can just come crashing down, and we have to ask ourselves, well, how can we survive this? How can we prepare for this? How can we cope with this? And who do we trust? Can we trust in the government? Can we trust in financial advisors? Can we trust in the media? And you know, I'm not sure there's anyone we can trust here on earth. I don't have any confidence in anyone at the moment. But you know, there's a greater pandemic than this in the world at the moment that dwarfs the coronavirus, and that's the pandemic of sin. This disease affects each of us at the deepest level, and ultimately is our biggest problem, because all of us will face death, the great leveler of man, and on that day of judgment we'll have to give an account of ourselves to God, and the stakes will be far higher than anything we're experiencing now. And we could make the same mistake, just going about our business, building up security for ourselves, thinking that everything's going to be okay and we can just sit back and live a comfortable life. But we're only one moment away from that being exposed. We're only ever one moment away from that illusion being completely exposed. Matthew chapter 6 in Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talks about laying up treasures for ourselves in heaven, and he says, don't lay up treasures here on earth where rust and moth can come in and destroy, but lay up treasures in heaven. And again, he's not saying don't be diligent, don't be prudent with your finances, don't be a good steward of the money that you've been given, because the Bible talks about this. But what it's saying is, don't let that be the ultimate source of your hope, and don't think that you're immune from ruin because of that. Ultimately, no one can earn heaven. We've all done wrong things. We're all going to have to give an account for our life. We're all going to stand before God in the judgment, and we're all fully deserving of that judgment. You and I know that we have done wrong, and of our own, we cannot save ourselves. But there is a vaccine for this pandemic of sin, and that's Jesus Christ. He came to earth as a man. He lived a perfectly obedient life. He died on the cross, taking the punishment that we deserve so that we can go free. And he rose from the dead and is able to offer eternal life to whoever asks for forgiveness and puts their trust in him. He doesn't only save us, he transforms us, and he allows us to see through the lens of reality, and he fills us with his Spirit and opens our eyes to the wonderful truths and the path that he's revealed for us. Let this be a time of great introspection, to see just how temporary the things of this life are and just how little security we can have in them. And I pray that you would consider the truths of God and prepare yourself for the greatest pandemic. I've prepared a message on my channel. It's the first message I uploaded on the gospel, and I'd encourage you to go and have a look at that message. It speaks of how we can be saved, it speaks of what Jesus has done for us, and it speaks to us of the ultimate security that we can have, not only now, but for all of eternity to come. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and don't forget to share with your friends.